It is windy outside. I am so sorry if that is audible. Anyway, I remember being in elementary school. Kind of. I was in about 3rd or 2nd grade when Animal Crossing New Leaf came out. I only got 2 video games a year, one for my birthday and one for Christmas. My birthday's in July, so I guess I got really lucky that my birthday's toward the middle of the year. I grew up in poverty for a lot of my childhood, living in a less than desirable situation. For my birthday every year, I got $40 from my grandmother, who was much better off than my family was. I got an old 3DS, which was red, after the price drop. I can't remember exactly how the timeline goes, but I got Animal Crossing New Leaf while it was $40 and before the Welcome Amiibo update came out. I remember asking my dad what I should name my town. Seeing as I never played a game like this before, I named my town after the actual place where I lived, as I took the prompt too seriously and didn't realize they were asking me to name my own town. I used to play Animal Crossing during the drive to school, which only lasted about 5 minutes, and I used to leave my DS in the car so I could play it as soon as I left school. I eventually got into a groove where I played the game during the day and played multiplayer at night. I have many fond-ish memories of staying up all night on Fridays, Saturdays, playing Animal Crossing online, trying to make sure my father's Verizon hotspot was plugged in so it wouldn't die. I had grown up playing Harvest Moon Sunshine Islands and Super Paper Mario primarily. I don't talk often about the impact that Animal Crossing had on me until now. I don't really like New Horizons, and I know that this is a far from unpopular opinion, but I feel the need to throw my own opinion into the ring, I guess. I'd honestly go as far as to say that New Horizons is a disservice to the series. I've been told by people that I know that I should probably coin something entitled the Halo effect, if that isn't a thing already. Generally, it's the idea that a new game comes out. People like it. It's okay, or maybe they just hate it. And then a new game comes out after that, and suddenly people are claiming the new game is entirely horrible and the old game is perfect and amazing. Anyway, point of that being is that I'm totally aware, I'm really stretching this, but this was my experience with New Leaf. No one cared about it, I didn't hear it the same way I heard about New Horizons. New Horizons came out, everyone and their dog went to go play it, and at about now-ish, people are slowly dipping out and either not playing Animal Crossing at all, or they're back to playing New Leaf. I've noticed a lot of people praising New Leaf nowadays than before, but maybe that's because we took the things that game had for granted. I'm not sure, honestly. At least for me, I feel that New Horizons is highly lackluster in what makes Animal Crossing Animal Crossing. Don't get me wrong, New Leaf experienced great success at the same time as New Horizons. Granted, you can't type Animal Crossing New Leaf into Google without it trying to correct it to New Horizons, or you couldn't do that at a point in the past. But at least the subreddit for Animal Crossing New Leaf jumped to 30,000 members during March of 2020 alone. But at any rate, here's my comparison of the two games and what I think about both of them. Animal Crossing was okay. I hadn't heard about Wild World while it existed, and City Folk was... yeah. I still rarely hear about these older games. New Leaf, by the end of 2022, sold 13 million copies. By the same time, New Horizons sold about 40 million. I don't think it's hard to tell the popularity disparity here. New Horizons got everything. Animal Crossing merch is almost entirely New Horizons branded rather than Animal Crossing branded. I can own Tom Nook now! Fucking Build-A-Bear got Animal Crossing merchandise. It's probably got a talk show, and it probably has more out there that I don't even know about. It got more than Amiibo cards at the very least. The game exploded in popularity, people say, because of the pandemic. Video game sales in general saw a massive uptick in success due to the pandemic, according to Seeking Alpha. Even with the general success, Animal Crossing New Horizons was still Game of the Year at the Japanese Game Awards, and it was critically acclaimed. New Horizons was the 5th most grossing game of 2020, just barely beating out Pokemon Go. But okay, whatever, those are just financials. I don't care about money, those are fake numbers is all as I know. How did the game rank up against New Leaf in terms of public opinion? IGN ranks New Leaf higher than New Horizons, but who cares about critics? Their opinions don't matter. What about the general public? Have you ever seen a game fall off the face of the earth faster than New Leaf? Oh, okay. Yeah, New Leaf got great success from New Horizons' release, but it rapidly fell off in favor of the new game. In addition, I don't think there's any denying that New Horizons saw amazing success compared to New Leaf. With advances in technology, it was now easier than ever to use the internet to play online with others. With this brought a wider audience, despite the fact that you need to pay for Nintendo Switch Online to indulge in one of, I believe, the game's core features. I'll elaborate on this more later, maybe, but I think that needing to pay to play online with others is a curse on the video game industry. Like, I paid $60 to buy Splatoon, and you mean I need to pay for Switch Online to play the game online? Which is one of the game's main selling features? Man! In summary, New Horizons saw really good success, likely due to the pandemic, and quickly popularized the series more, and it trumped New Leaf almost instantly. Next, I want to compare aspects of the two games, starting with their launch state and added content. You know when people say they hate when unfinished games launch? Yeah. Keep in mind, New Horizons was delayed by a year. Look, okay, like, I'm all for preventing crunch culture. Crunch culture is absolutely wrong, and it really pushes the idea that your life revolves around your work, and your worth is inherently tied to your work. This is bullshit, much like capitalism is, but that's besides my point. You think the game would be so chock full of content? It started development in 2012, and it had to be delayed. Surely that was to make the game even better and to give it more content, right? Oh. I'm going to touch on time traveling later, don't worry. So you mean to tell me the game launched with content equivalent to the content in the Sims 4 base pack? After that much development and delay, that's it? Forgive me, but I was kind of expecting a bit more because of the long development cycle and the delay. I obviously wasn't the only one with this opinion. That doesn't exactly say anything about the actual game, though, does it? People can rag on its development cycle all they want, and on the idea it's seemingly been abandoned by Nintendo. My entire point in this video is that New Horizons would have been better if it wasn't an Animal Crossing game. New Horizons plays like the game prior to it. You run an island this time, except now you get to customize it however you want. Gone are the days of plot resetting and hacking. This should be great, right? Animal Crossing games always had that homey feel to them. These decisions gave your town a sense of identity. Villagers doing various things, moving into random locations, having actually variable dialogue sometimes. These all created a sense of identity for the old games. When I first found out I could move villager plots to wherever I wanted in New Horizons, I was stoked. Finally, no more wasting time hacking. I can finally have a nice island, without having to put in a lot of time to make everything perfect. And then I started playing. And I just got to put things anywhere I wanted. And later, we got access to terraforming. And you can also basically place anything outside. Am I the only one that feels like this is a dead Animal Crossing game? There's no sense of identity. There's no sense of, oh, these villagers are their own people because you control them all. Even in New Leaf, Isabelle said you don't have control over everything because that'd make you a dictator. This sounds an awful lot like having control over everything to me. There's no sense of excitement to it. There's no sense of novelty. It wears off fast since you can control literally everything and all there is to do is customize. Which brings me to my next point. Customization in New Leaf was a bit limited. I want to argue and say this was a good thing, though. It gave the town a sense of itself, like you weren't some omnipotent god that ruled and controlled everything. The villagers actually had their own personality. You couldn't just run around and suddenly move where someone was living. Imagine if that happened to you! You're just existing and whoops, there goes your house and belongings across town, destined to be in a dystopian grid pattern. You could build outside structures, but it was limited and it was up to the villagers what you built. You can move those around, but you were challenged to work with each structure's space requirements, and you couldn't skirt around them via creating more land or something like that. You were stuck with your layout, and that was it. Of course, this is provided you aren't hacking, which is totally fine, I do that too. Man, what the fuck is New Horizons doing? I agree with the idea that you should be able to put furniture outside, don't get me wrong, that's an awesome idea. But it came from Happy Home Designer, so I'm not going to attribute that to New Horizon. I can just make land, and water, and cliffs. Cliffs are pretty cool, not gonna lie. Look, I like this idea. It's genius. I just don't think it fits an Animal Crossing game. Apparently, also, once you get the terraforming app, you need to pay $50,000 to move houses, which you would think would help negate the whole, requirement. You would think it would prevent people from moving houses around because it costs so much. Except mid to late game, $50,000 is literally chump change. It's nothing. So, how can this issue be fixed? I think the game is alright, even if I don't like the crafting system. Under this pretense, it should have leaned more on the customization and not been an Animal Crossing game. I would honestly be so into a game where you just design whole islands or towns. Then you move on to the next one a la Happy Home Designer style. Incredible Island Designer? I don't know. But I think I would have liked this game a lot more if it had leaned into that and not advertised itself as Animal Crossing. Instead, I'd more call it a partially limited customization game. I feel like it needs more content, and it needs to go more into customization for it to be a game I would play. I'd much prefer New Horizons as a spin-off game rather than a mainline entry. I'd love the idea behind getting to create islands following people's requests. Maybe a villager wants a private getaway, someone else wants to host a huge party, or maybe someone wants a nice town to settle down in which case you'd likely place their house down into an already pre-existing layout and then customize that. That all actually sounds like so much fun. I just feel like New Horizons is best viewed as a non-Animal Crossing game, because if you go into it having expectations that it'll be as authentic as the other games, I believe you'll be sorely disappointed. Oh wait, didn't I say I was going to talk about time traveling? I did, didn't I? Why did New Horizons try to get us to not time travel? At least that's what I remember around when the game came out. I guess leaving the holidays and such and future updates was a good way to get people invested in the game, but why do that if you're not going to keep riding that wave of investment? I've heard of so many people who love the game then stop playing it because of a lack of content. Why do you get people invested by leaving staples of the series for future updates and then entirely abandon the game altogether? I time travel. I enjoy doing so. If it's my game, I really believe I should get to play it how I want to. I don't care if it ruins the game for people who don't do it. I don't even interact with those people. The only people who it affects is me, and I don't understand the very strong backlash against it when this game was released. If it affects other people, like cheating in online games, I can see the argument for not doing it. But if it isn't hurting anyone, just leave it alone. They aren't going to stop, and you're going to waste your energy. Okay, thank you, bye.